Have you ever looked back at past relationships and think to yourself, what was I thinking? Or what happened? Did you ever find yourself in a serious relationship but no longer in love with the person? Did you ever get engaged or marry someone that you fell out of love with later? All these things happen more often than not, and I wanted to cover this topic because I've never been engaged or married. I'll be having this conversation from a place of neutrality. This isn't about me giving anyone any marital or relationship advice. I'm not even here to judge anyone's situation because I'm aware of how life can come at you fast. I'm not in a position to tell any of you what to choose when it comes to your life. I'm doing this because I believe understanding helps individuals make better decisions and to show maybe your situation isn't unique. Before we get into the questions, I wanted to properly introduce the guests that are going to discuss their situation. Both of these women have been featured before on my podcast, The Blast. Karinelle is an educator and entrepreneur who runs her own production company. She also has a podcast by the name of Say It Loud. Check the description box for links to check out her work. Trishana is a certified personal trainer and entrepreneur as well. She does virtual and in-person training. She also models and graced covers of magazines. I wanted to have these ladies on here with me because I knew they would have no problem sharing their story. Before marriage or before divorce, who were you? And how did that change?
Oh my gosh, I got so much to say. How much time y'all? How much time I got?
Just go.
Okay, so
Just
before the marriage, I got married at 22. So I was relatively young, right? And I don't know about other people's households, but in my household, they told you to get married, but they didn't teach you how to stay married. They didn't teach you how to be a wife. They didn't teach you, they taught you how to cook, they taught you how to clean, and I was like, you have to get married. But they never really explained the emotional part of it and what to look for in a partner. And like, I don't know if people have that conversation, but I didn't have aunts around. My mom never had that conversation with me, and I didn't live with my older sister. So I didn't have any woman around to really see what that relationship looked like other than my parents. But I think that even till this day, that conversation is not had with my mother. Like, what do you look for in a partner? You know, and I think that no one did that. So you choose someone, but you don't really know what it is or why it is you chose them. Because if you don't know what you're looking for, right, or how to choose a partner, well, when someone comes around and they're nice and they're fun, they seem like, you know, they're good. When you're not at 22, you're not thinking about like religion and financial and education and things like that. Like what our life is going to look like in 5 years or 10 years. You're not thinking about that. At 22 years old, you're like, oh, well, this is fun. You know, we have a good time together. We laugh, we go out, we chill, like we eat. It's great. Life is great. Like, you know, and then that's what it is until you get to the point where you're like, wait a minute. So yeah, who was I before? I don't know. I literally don't know. Because before, well, obviously you're a lot younger, but you try to conform to what you saw and what you think you're supposed to be at that age. And I think at people big age too, we just think this is what a wife does. This is what I'm supposed to do. So I would like not go out with my friends because I'm a wife. I shouldn't be outside. I would not talk to other guys, even though I got mad male friends, like cool male friends, because that my husband's going to be jealous. Like, I think I was everything that person wanted, but I didn't know who I was. So yeah, that's before. After, so every one of my friends that have gotten divorced, after the divorce, they go through some kind of like butterfly cocoon shit. You know what I mean? Like you get divorced and that's the point where you finally say, this is who I want to be. This is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to figure out who I am now. Because while I was in this marriage, it wasn't who I am, it's who we are. And when you get divorced, it almost feels like you lost your whole identity. Like that was my identity. I was somebody's wife. That was my title, right? That was, everybody be like, you married? That's a big thing that people, you know? And so when you are no longer connected or attached to somebody else, you got to really figure out, like, who am I? Like, I got divorced and somebody asked me, they were like, Karen, you could do whatever you want now. What do you want to do? And I remember going, no one ever asked me that before. Because all of my decisions were made around this relationship, this person, these children, you know? And so when it was time to get divorced and be like, okay, now I get to figure me out. It's like, I know a woman who's going through a divorce. I can tell by the stuff she's doing that she's going through a divorce, because you kind of have this sense of freedom and like, I got to figure this out. And so for the next year, I'm going to go to every party and I'm going to be at the beach and I'm going to travel and I'm going to do all the things I love to do because I couldn't do them before. And then at some point you're like, all right, I'm good. But you go through that. They lose weight. They be looking good. Cut your hair off. Like all the things that you didn't get to do, you reinvent yourself. And I don't think people talk about that enough.
Well, before marriage, I was already deep rooted in who I was, what I wanted to be, my goals, the standards, my business. You know, I already set myself above my own goals to try to reach, which I really did. And I found that to be very important. I believed in purpose. I believed in holding self-confidence. And I pushed it also when it came to my son. So prior to me being married, I already had a set goal of what I want for myself, what I'm trying to do, who I am, and my purpose, and walking in God's speed. Like, what does God want me here for? And that's what I'm here to do. And that was what I was planning on prior to marriage. And I'm pretty sure everybody on, the internet or my clients saw that I was very serious about my business, about my life, and I walked with, intention. So that was important to me prior to marriage. Okay, so before the divorce, I have to say that I got lost. Okay, I don't even know how else to say that, but they always say you really have to watch who you marry. And I do believe your childhood and your lifestyle does determine who you marry and the choices that you make, whether you're trying to protect something, protect yourself, whether you're trying to elevate, whatever you consider to be useful at the time when you're getting married. I got married for love. I got married for protection, provision, security, father figure, for my son. I got married for the right reasons. But during the marriage, I just kind of realized that the clarity was like slowing down between both parties. And I kind of felt like it was getting blurred. And I did notice at times we weren't equally yoked. And that's a really big thing that people have to be mindful of, even prior to getting married. I just kind of felt during the marriage, what I perceived to be one thing ended up being something else. So I made decisions based on what I was told, based on what I was able to see, which then took a turn later on. I became more focused on holding on to things opposed to elevating. So we weren't going this way, it was just going this way. There was like no growth, and that in itself is a no for me. And I felt like I wasn't honoring myself at certain times. I felt like I was being shrunken to be somebody I wasn't, to fit the norm of what others believe marriage is, and not really what you feel inside, and holding a equal balance in partnership.
Right.
Was there anything about marriage that no one really prepared you for?
Answer that.
Yeah, I think there's
sure
everything about marriage that nobody prepares people for.
Can you say that again?
I think the only time people are prepared is when they're older and more mature. But I think when younger people get married, they're not prepared. Because if I had to do it, if I ever get married again, these are conversations we need to have. And at 22, I wasn't having that. Some people at 30 are not having it. We're just having a good time. But like, where do we see ourselves in 5 years? Where do we see ourselves in 10 years? What are your goals? What are my goals? Right? How are we going to work those together so that we can support each other to get to whatever it is that we want? How do you deal with money? How do I deal with money? Right? What about the holidays? Well, my family does this and your family does that. How do we put that together? I think, when you're young and you're in love, or even if you're old and in love, you kind of let the love lead. And I think when you get older, you can really think about I love you, but these are the things that you do that would be unhealthy for me.
Right.
And so we got to talk about it, or we got to figure that out before we get married. And so I think that there's a lot of things, and a lot of young men and women that don't have those conversations. It's just the love is good enough. We're spending the night at each other's house. We eat and life is good. And then you get married and you're like, yo, bro, you know, like, and we didn't have those conversations. So I think there's a lot that people need to learn. And I think in certain cultures, we don't talk about it. We're just like, yeah, go ahead, get married. I want a big wedding, a big dress, a big party. Okay. And the next day, what y'all gonna do?
Ooh, nobody can prepare you for marriage.
Right. That's real. That's real.
Nobody can prepare you for that. Nobody can even tell you the emotional responsibilities you'll have to carry for yourself and for your partner. And sometimes it can be overbearing. Marriage to me wasn't just a partnership. It was communication, it was elevation, it was growth, it was a lot of other things. And I just realized that sometimes in those partnerships, one person can carry more, whether it's emotional, physical, mental, of the workload than the other person. And that in itself can weigh down someone. And when you're expressing yourself, it may come out inconclusive because they're not understanding what you're going through. And they may not even see that there's an imbalance between the relationship. And I wasn't prepared for much of it. I thought I had my own eternal strength, but some people have a stronger strength that may not have been balanced, that threw me off. And I just tried to stay grounded the best I could and make sure that I was there because my son was watching too. So, you know, that was very important for me to share and to keep my sanity. My sanity.
Absolutely. Did it make it tougher for you, as this is a follow-up to what you just said, to have your son there? Because you mentioned how important it was before the marriage. You had everything structured to where you knew what you wanted and you knew what you wanted for your kid. So when you involved a third party, did it make things a lot tougher? That's why you probably wanted to hold on to it a little longer. You know what I mean?
Yes. It made it much tougher. Everybody has different ways of raising children. Everybody has their own ways of running a business. And I felt like sometimes personal and business got intertwined opposed to keeping it separate. So things bled into each other, which caused confusion and chaos. It did make it harder from my perception because when it comes to my child or children that I have a certain way that I want them to grow. You know, you spare the rod, you spoil the child, and you want them to grow in the right direction. But I just felt like the grounds that I had wasn't respected. And in that essence, the child can learn behaviors that may not be what you want for your child. So that was something important that I had to be clear. Like, if I want my son to also grow up the right way, I have to make sure I put the right surroundings around him, the right mentors, the right people. He's a young man, so I wanted a really good, strong man behind him. And if I felt like there was an indifference, then I had to remove myself.
When did you first realize how much emotional responsibility you were carrying?
Oh, I knew like 5 years into my marriage. I was married for 11 years. I was married for 11 years. I knew 5 years into my marriage, I was like, yo, I'm done. I knew 5 years in.
Really?
Yeah. I told two people. I told my sister and I told my mother. That was it. 5 years in.
What was their advice to you after you told them?
They thought I was I'm a comedian. Like, so I know this. Yes. Like, by nature, I'm a comedian. Like, I play around too much. And they didn't take me seriously. And I was like, I'm dead serious.
They thought you were joking.
They thought my mom, you know, being old school and Caribbean, was like, hey, go back home.
Even your sister too, though?
My sister believed me that what I was feeling, but I don't think she believed like I was gonna leave one day. I don't know. I never asked her that. Okay. But I would literally be in the house going, I'm taking one for the team. I'm taking one for the team. Like, I would literally be like, I'm taking one for the team. I'm taking one for the team. I would literally do that at 5 years. I was done at 5 years. Like, yo, I looked at it like this. And not everybody has to look at it like this, but this is how I look at it. Take it with a grain of salt. I felt like my life was a business, right? And I'm the CEO of my life, and you, my partner, and we represent each other. And if you can't represent me and hold me down, then I gotta fire you.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the marriage, I mean, some people may get upset when I say this. It is a business proposition.
Yes.
Between two people.
Yes.
there's a contract. There's rings involved that show
Yeah.
that yes, this
Yeah.
is an agreement that we've come to.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a third. No, there's always a third party, whether it's in the church or in the courtroom. So
Right.
yeah, it's a business deal. And yes,
Right.
the way you look at it, some people may not like it, but
that person is representing you. When you work at the NFL, if you do something that you're not supposed to do, they can fine you for it in your contract, even if you're not on the field.
yes.
Well, that's the same way I feel about my marriage. Like, you out here representing me, so you out here acting dumb or acting irresponsible, not paying your bills, whatever the hell you doing that puts me at risk and your family at risk. And it could just be like whatever it is that I don't like or you don't like, but you would fire them or fine them. So,
Yeah, no, for sure. Let them know that you're not going to do that again or ever.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean.
But it could be simple things too, like people grow apart. It could be simple things like that as well. I think part of my marriage was that we grew apart too. Like, it was all the other bullshit. But I also
do you think the growing apart led to the other BS? Or
I think growing apart led to, this is not my person. Like, you're going one way and I'm going the other way, and that's cool. But we can't go where I'm going and where you going. We can't go. You can't come with me, and I'm going with you.
Right,
So
right.
like you have to look at life sometimes and be like, you know what you want out of life and what I want out of life is not the same.
Right.
And where I'm going, you're not coming, and where you're going, I don't want to go with you.
You don't want to go there. Right.
And so sometimes people do grow apart. You mature, you learn, you're in different environments. You get older, you be at Dave Chappelle levels of not giving a fuck, So what you wanted at 22 and 23 and 25 might not be what you want at 35 and 40.
Right. Yeah, you're definitely
Sometimes
not the same
it's
person.
just two people.
Right.
And that's okay. That's okay.
That's a fact.
That's okay. I'd rather you tell me the truth than you string me along for 20 years. But like, I'm not happy here. I didn't want to be here. Like, just be honest and say what it is.
Okay.
I realized when I started to feel shrunken, when I was told I couldn't wear certain things, I couldn't dress a certain way, I couldn't go certain places, when I was told in public settings that I had to sit down in a corner. It was different for me, coming from an independent standpoint of me growing what I grew, and then someone else coming in and telling me what to do with it and what to do with my life. So I had a problem with that. And I understood staying meant killing myself, whether it was spiritual, not real in reality, not a physical thing, but I felt like I would be killing myself off. Like, you're gonna kill the essence of who you are to make someone else's happy or make someone else's ego happy. And I just couldn't do it. And I just wouldn't abandon myself, not for anyone or for anything. And me doing that also forced me to provide less for my son. Because I had so much responsibility, some of the responsibility for my son had to be shared to take care of other people, other spaces in the environment. And not only was I losing my foundation, I was losing my hope, I was losing my business, I was losing Trishana altogether. There were people who would come in and say, Trish, you're smiling, but you're not smiling with your eyes anymore. What's going on? And I would try to share, but I think unless you're in it, you would never understand the emotional pressure that you can have if you're the one that started as the strong one. Like, this is mine, I have this, I have that, I did this, I did that. Then somebody comes in and claims what you've built, and now you have to share it now, and then they tell you what to do. And not because some people, when they don't do it on their own, they don't give the same value of respect to it. If that makes sense.
That makes
What I built, it's very precious to me. My life, it's very important. So I'm going to be very diligent with how I work with things. But when people get things too easy, or it doesn't belong to them, it's easier to crush it and not have an emotional security with it. And then they can trash it, and then you feel belittled, and you'll have to hold it. Especially if you're in a relationship and you're the woman, more than likely you're not the one that they believe.
Was there a moment you knew staying would cost you more than leaving?
So my divorce I guess was different than a lot of other women. I don't know. I don't know what other women go through. So when I got divorced, I didn't tell anyone.
Okay.
I didn't tell anyone for a year that I was getting divorced. I didn't tell anyone. And the reason I didn't tell anyone is I was like, everybody gonna talk me out of it. Everybody's going to try to talk me out of it. And I knew that. So I didn't tell anyone. My mother knew and my sister knew. That was it. I didn't even tell my best friend, and I love her down. But I didn't tell my best friend. But I knew. And I was the one that left. Like in most people's marriages, the woman is, still in the house and you kick him out. I was like, there was a day that came and I was like, it's either you or me. It's gonna either be you or me. And I packed my stuff in a Nike duffel like a dude and I left. And I guess he called me bluff, but I don't bluff. I never went back. I took my kids, a pink Nike duffel bag, and my car. That was it. And I left.
And that was year 11 you did this? Or
Yeah. No, year 10. Because we had 1 year where he was like, he didn't want to sign the divorce papers and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, so it took a year for him.
Yeah, because he was using everything we had together as leverage.
What do you mean?
Right? So he would be like, I'm not going to sign the papers. You got to come back. I'm not going to sell the house. You got to come back. I'm not going to give you the car. You got to come back. Like this man offered me a car, another house. Like I was like, I don't want nothing from you.
I just want you to sign the papers.
I just want you to sign the papers. I don't want nothing. There's nothing. I dead told him. I was like, there is nothing that you can offer me that is going to make me come back. Nothing. I have a car. I lost my house. I was like, I'll buy another one. But you're not going to hold me hostage.
Right.
Over some chips. Hell no.
Right.
I mean, I was mad. I'm not going to lie, because that was my house. Like I worked for it. I earned it. Right. Like that was all me. Like you living with my shit. Right. But the day came that it was like, I can't be here. And so I left. I never went back.
Right.
But yeah, the day came where it was like, in the beginning, you're like, I'm going to try to work. I'm going to take one for the team. But in the end, I just felt like it was stifling me. Like I was choking. And I was like, I got to go. And it's crazy. Like, I don't mean to be disrespectful to that person, because they probably going to hear this, or maybe not. But like, after I got divorced, I feel so bad about it, but it's so true. After I got divorced, I was so happy. I felt guilty. Like I was so happy that I felt guilty. I felt like I shouldn't be this happy about this. I was so happy. I felt guilty.
Was it like a breath of fresh air almost? Like say you were drowning and then you just
yeah.
And you felt guilty about that.
I felt guilty about that.
Can you explain?
Okay, so here's the thing that we were talking about earlier. So when you get divorced, right? People think that this word divorce is like it's itchy and you're gonna get sick and die or something like that, or you're a failure. That word is like partnered with failure. It's partnered with angry and mean and hurt, and like, to the rest of your community is like, oh my God, what happened? Like, it's so dramatic. It really is. And so like, I no longer identify as divorced, because I feel like it's been expunged from my record after a certain period of time. It doesn't matter. And I don't like to use that word, because I feel like why do they ask, are you married, single, or divorced on a paper? It's not you married or you single.
Right. It's almost like there's, like you said, a negative connotation.
Why do I have to walk around with a badge or a sign on my forehead saying I'm divorced? Like, what does that have to do with me being at the doctor to get my flu shot? What I gotta do?
Right.
What I have to do?
So
I don't
true.
understand.
That is so true.
So I have to walk around with this sign on my head where everybody can see, like, oh, you had a failed marriage. Like, I grew up, he grew up, and we decided this is not working. Why do we have to walk? Well, I decided it wasn't working. But why do you have to feel like these negative feelings? And so you don't tell anyone. Because everyone is going to be like, no, you should go back. You
Try
should
to poke.
stay. You should try. But everything looks so good, and you guys have a nice home, and you have a nice, and people just see what's on the outside. And so and then you're married. Like, it's such a big deal for people to get married that it's like, oh my God, why would you get divorced? Like, I'm waiting 40 years to get married. And so there's this negativity that comes with it. So I didn't tell anyone. I was like, y'all, I know that everyone's gonna try to talk me out of it. That was one, because I have children. Also, and our investment, our house, things like that.
Right.
And yeah, so I didn't tell anyone. I was just like, I'm gonna just I told myself, whatever advice you would give your best friend, that's what you need to do.
That's good. That's a good one. I never heard that before, but
that's because I don't know if anybody ever said that, but me personally, I was like, whatever I would tell my best friend, and I love my best friend and my sister to death. Y'all know that. If I would tell them like, yo, it's time to go, then I don't need nobody else's advice. That's what I would tell somebody else. That's what I'm going to do. And that's what I did.
Yes. Without a doubt. I wish people understood that endurance isn't weakness. It's really about staying true to yourself. Like, you have nobody else to give that to except God, you know? So I stayed in as long as I could because I believed in love. I believe in marriage. I believe in unity. I believe that a man should be the head of my family. I have a hard time making decisions, even though I make them well. It doesn't come easy. There's tears behind all that, you know, like, what do I do? You know?
Absolutely, yeah.
But I respect that, that authoritative figure when it comes to my man. And when I left, it wasn't failure. It was just alignment, like just recentering and rebalancing myself. Like, Trish, wait a second. This is what you stand for. If this was somebody else, you wouldn't have allowed them to do it. So don't accept it for yourself for the name of love, or just to say I'm married, you know, like, it doesn't make sense that way. And today I don't carry any resentment towards it. I don't carry any anger, but I learned so many lessons. My son's seen so many things, and it was easier now to say, I know now what I don't like. So I didn't have the same parental guidance growing up from my father. So I wasn't really able to have discernment when it came to men and what I'm supposed to accept in the boundaries. But after that particular situation, it just made me feel like, okay, you know what you stand for, you know what you want, you know what you deserve, and that's it. There's nothing else other than that.
Yeah, no, that's real. So basically, you just found yourself again. You found the Trishana you were before you got married, pretty much.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I got from your answer there. No, that's powerful. That's really dope.
Plus more. And then you don't realize the strength that you have inside, because sometimes when you're in those situations with somebody else, emotions is a hard carry weight, right? Anything else can happen. You could change jobs, you could change this, you could change that, but emotions, some people hurt people over emotions.
Yes.
They can get very passionate. So it's, it's something that you have to consider. But I felt like I already knew myself then, but I refound myself. Like, I was almost like rebranded into something greater and better. And, and God said, there's a lesson for you here.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a lesson I need you to see. And if it wasn't that particular person, it could have been another person. But either way, there was something that I didn't grasp or I was supposed to learn that I ended up learning regardless. So it makes me feel better knowing that through all this, it made me stronger. It made me more powerful. I can look back and say, hey, there were blessings in this, but there were also things that were not as what I may have accepted, because everybody accepts what they feel they can accept, right? So what I would have accepted, no, but I'm grateful I had the opportunities. My son had an opportunity to learn things. And that to me in itself was great. I don't feel like any love is lost. I feel like you marry the person for a reason, right? It wasn't like, so there was something there. So I'm not going to take away from it, but I just had to realize that being equally yoked is just as important. Having boundaries is important. And really doing it for love, not for the image of we're married, so we got to do this because people see that we're married. I don't care what people see. This is how we should feel together. It's a unity,
Yeah, you learned a lot of lessons from what people would consider a loss. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's dope.
What do you wish people understood about your decision or your endurance?
That's what I wish people understood.
Yes, about your decision or your endurance. I want you to talk about both, because you said 5 years in you knew you couldn't do this. That means you stayed for an additional 6.
Yeah.
So
for my kids. For my kids. When you have my kids in my house, but
hey, good reasons.
I mean, that was the reason. It was my children, And my house. I bought that house, and like when I had to leave that house, I cried like a baby, like it was my child. I didn't want to. But where I was in my life, I was like, if I don't leave here, I'm never gonna grow to where I'm supposed to be. Like I knew that. So I was like, yo, it's either me or you. Now, and at that point, I was like, you could take what you want. Like contrary to most women, I was like, you can have whatever you want. Like you want to take one of the cars, take it. You want to take the house, take it. The only thing you can't, my kids, you can't have. But anything else you need in here, take whatever you want. Take it. It didn't mean anything to me at that point. None of it meant anything to me. When the tangible things become more important than yourself and your soul, nah, there was nothing that you could give me, and there was not. You can have whatever you want, but I'm leaving. So I think that you said endurance.
Yes. Your decision and endurance.
My decision. It was the first time in my life I feel I made a decision for me.
Yes, because you said you were elated after you made the decision.
Yes.
So much so that you felt bad.
Felt guilty. I did feel guilty because I had always made decisions for my family. And this was the first time I knew that the decision I made would affect my children.
Right.
And so it's like, damn, do I choose myself or do I keep staying here for the sake of my kids?
Right.
And it was the first time in my life I had to make a major decision that I knew would hurt them, but would be better for me in the long run. It's a tough decision. It's a really, really tough decision to make. Like, do I put the people I love the most in pain to save myself? No mother in their right mind gonna want to do that. Like, I don't want to hurt my kids.
That's the truth. Truth.
But I also had to realize that the decision I'm making was because of the decisions that this other person had made throughout the marriage. And why am I guilting myself for what they did? Like, you messed it. You didn't do what you needed to do to keep this marriage together. Not me. I made a reaction. This was your decision. That was your action. I made the reaction. And so I had to work through like being okay with the decision that I made, understanding that like I was at a place where it was like they're even the kids, and I love them to death. I'm always with my kids, but even them, I was like, yo, bro, I can't do it. I can't do it. Like somebody gonna get hurt. I can't do it. And I have no regret. I have one regret.
What's that? The house.
No, because me and God locked in. I'll get one.
You got
it's
one.
It's gonna be bigger.
You good, right?
Yeah. I had a little Benz then. I got a bigger Benz now. Like, it's all right. Like, I don't worry about like tangible things. I can replace those. Right? It's the things you can't replace that you got to worry about. Anything I can replace, we good. Okay. My one regret is that I didn't do it sooner.
Right, because you knew.
I knew.
You knew.
I knew a long time ago, and I just felt like I wasn't strong enough. I didn't have the moral support. I wasn't the woman I am now. Like, now I'll tell anybody, like, if you lose everything in your life, it's really easy to lose a person too. Like, you know, but at the time, because of like the family and the friends and the exterior and like the vulnerability, and I wasn't strong enough or empowered enough.
Do you think that was like your age at the time, or do you think it was just
I don't know. I don't know. I think it was a lot of different things. I think it's like societal pressure. I think it's your children. I think it's we got old school parents. I think it's like, who's going to be with me now? I got kids. I think it's financial, like how I'm going to live on one income. I think there's so many people stay in relationships because of all of those things. I leave. I can't afford to leave.
Right.
I don't have anywhere to go. Like, I have the resources, you know what I mean? And I told that man, like, unlike a lot of other people, like, I have the resources to not be here. You know what I mean? I have somewhere to go.
Right.
So I think, you know, it's all of those things put together. But I think most importantly, it is you being strong enough against everybody else's will, including your heart. Sometimes your heart and your brain don't be on the same page. And it's like, yo, I love you. I don't want nothing to happen to you, but I don't want to be your wife anymore.
Right. That is fast.
And being able to, be honest with yourself and say that, because it's tough. It's tough. Everybody gonna be like, you should go back. You should work it out. You should go to therapy. You should do this. You should do that. What about the kids? Wait till they 18. I thought someone said that I should wait till my kids was 18. I think my son is 16 now, right?
I was about to say, ain't your
was
son like 16 now?
Yeah, my son is 16 now.
And
this was years ago. I was like, yo, I'll be damn near 50, like 55 years old if I gotta wait till he's 18 or something like that. Like, you're bugging. You want me to sit here for 10 more years? Nah. But I think you have to be brave enough. You have to be brave enough. You gotta be brave. And you gotta be able to hold it down. And so I didn't tell nobody for a long time because I was like, I don't want nobody telling me nothing. Don't tell me nothing. I'll deal with it. I'll just come out afterwards and tell everybody. And that's what I did.
I wish people would understand it's not about loss. It's all about power. It's all about how you handle the situation at the end of the day. You either can take this and look at it as a loss and fall into the depths of sadness, or you can take this as an elevation and say, you know what, I learned from this. This is what I'm going to do better. Maybe I wasn't the best at that. Maybe I need to work on myself with that. Personally, I know I could have a little fast tongue when I'm ready. That was something I said, you know what, Trish? Take it easy.
Right.
Listen to listen. Don't listen to respond.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like one of the greatest things that I've learned for myself. Like, Trish, you're ready to get in the bag when you're ready. But it taught me to be better. It taught me to slow down. And it teaches my son how to also deal in relationships. The relationship that I had wasn't the best example.
Right.
For him to know how a man's supposed to love and treat a woman. Right. But in itself, I told him, you may not have learned it this way, but you learned it like negative. Not positive, but you learned the negative to know what the positive is, So there's a certain way you talk to women. There's a certain way you treat women. There's a certain way you court them, because the woman is a reflection of the man. And some men don't see that. And they think that you're supposed to deliver without them protecting and providing. So it was good for him to see you have to protect and provide. And when you do that, the woman in return nurtures you and loves you. It just becomes a cycle of just love, just to protect, provide, like just over and over. But when you don't see it, it's harder for them to gauge that. So.
I'm not here to analyze what was said. I do want to acknowledge how much it takes to speak with clarity and not to shift blame, and how rare it is.
I also want to take time out to thank the guests for being amazing and open about a topic most folks don't even want to talk about. I also want to thank you for watching this. Hit the like button and leave a comment with some feedback. If you're married, I hope this made you feel seen. If you're divorced or going through it, I hope it reminded you that choosing yourself wasn't and isn't a crime. And if you're single like me, I hope it encourages you to ask better questions and not rush towards better labels.